welcome to the June meeting of the Pendleton Urban Forestry Committee. Thank you everyone for coming today. We're going to start by just taking a roll call to establish a quorum, and I'll start with
Joe Scott,
Carrie Dunn, Carol Hannah,
Jeanette Isbell.
and we'll take care of some of our normal business first by taking a look at the meeting minutes for June. Did I say July? You did.
You
Okay.
said, well, you said June, but
But you know what I
I
meant.
knew
Okay.
it.
All right, well, this is not a good start. Is it?
it's a Monday.
Yes, it is. I'll drink all my coffee and everything will be good. So we've got the June minutes to look at, and I will entertain a motion to approve. I'll make a motion. Second. Second, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that's passed. So we've got a couple of old business items to take care of. The first one being the stormwater tree planting initiative, update on that.
Here. You. And kind of get us started. We'll do some introductions and appreciations for our special guests. We've got several here today, so really appreciate you guys taking your time out and coming in and meeting with us and learning about what we've done here in Pendleton with the urban forestry, and then also learn from you. So we're really looking forward to it. Jacob and Rose, he is the executive director from the Indiana DNR Division of Forestry. So he is here with us today. And then Rachel, is it Stinger? Stinger, okay. And she is the outreach and public outreach and education coordinator for DNR. And so we're very fortunate to have you here today. So thank you very much. We really appreciate it. And I'm Denise McKee, and I am the planning and zoning administrator, and under my umbrella is the urban forestry. It's fairly new in the program, so just here for about a year. And looking forward to, in the next years to come, is to learn more about urban forestry and to be able to build this program up. So thank you. And then we also have in the room, we have Erin Flint, and she is a consultant with Davie Resource Group. So Erin has probably been involved with the Pendleton Urban Forestry Program for several years now. So she's been very instrumental in our tree keeper program, our inventory assessment that was done, I believe, was it originally in 2016 and then back in again in 2020 update after the tornado. And she's just been a great resource for our town in many, many ways. And then we also have Brady, and Brady is from the local newspaper Times Post. So he's here with us as well to give coverage of kind of what's going on with the urban forestry program, as well as just to learn about the recovered tree project team that we're going to have more partners or participants from that program will be joining us today at the luncheon. So, as far as our members here for the urban forestry, we have Julia Avey. She was not able to come today, but we have a total of 5 members. We have Jeanette Isbell. Jeanette Isbell, you've been a part of this program for
I think pretty much since it initially started.
Yeah.
Which I don't even remember what year that
Yeah,
was.
that was in 1993.
Okay.
So,
All right.
Yeah, so we're actually right around 30 years with
Oh
our
my
urban
gosh.
forestry. It kind of dawned on me this weekend that we're right at 30
long
years for this
time.
program. So, yeah, great.
I didn't know it was that long.
that's long enough to grow a nice tree.
Yes, that's true. Yes, get you mature. Yes. But, that is right. And and then Jeanette, you are secretary, correct? Oh, no, we switched.
Yeah.
We did it for
Yes.
this year. That's right.
Yes.
Yes, that's Carrie Dodd. So, yeah, so Carrie Dodd, you've been involved. I know you were here before I started working here for the town.
2000.
2019. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's right. Jeanette was our secretary, and then she's got some things, and she's involved with other programs and organizations. So Carrie took that role over this year. And then we have Carol Hanna, and she's been on the board for the last couple years. She came in, and they realized real quick, we need to make her president. So Carol is.
Because no one else
Yeah.
wanted to do it.
She's been a great motivation, for me. She comes in, outside of these meetings and helps me out with taking a look at documents and so forth and helping make the decisions. Great ideas. So, and then we also have Joe Scott, and she is our newest member. She served on the board before, and then got busy with grandbabies and other boards as well. And she does CASA. She's very involved with that program. So we were very happy to be able to get her back.
Glad to be here.
But, we will go through our old business, kind of give you some updates. If you have any questions along the way, don't hesitate to ask. But our first update is on the Stormwater Tree Planting Initiative. And this is a program, an idea that came up about, I would say maybe 6-8 months ago. But this program, this idea came out of our MS4 Stormwater Quality Partnership. And a part of the new IDEM, Indiana Department of Environmental Management, they created, instead of the Rule 5 permit, they came up with a general permit. And a part of the general permit that's required for all municipalities, we have a lot of different components and requirements that we have to have as part of that program. The benefit and the plus to this is that we can partner with other smaller towns, and what they do counts for what we do and vice versa. So as what we do collaboratively as far as workshops, public outreach, and the planting projects, anything stormwater related, then we get credit across the board. So with that partnership within Madison County, we have 8 different entities. So 7 of those entities are municipalities around the area. We've got Alexandria, Chesterfield, Edgewood, Ingalls, City of Anderson, Pendleton, and then the unincorporated Madison County. But then the 8th partner is is Anderson University. And that group will probably be growing to add Elwood here in the next year or 2. So that, but a part of this project, they have expressed interest that they want to be a part of this project. With that general permit, they require 2 public outreach events a year. So our first one for 2023 was done at Citizen Plaza, and we had done a stormwater partnership booth. Carol was able to come. We had about 50 attendees that kind of came in for a couple hours, but it got delayed with the weather, with the rain and so forth. But despite that, we felt like we had a pretty good turnout. And the City of Anderson gave out tree seedlings that day, and the library was there, and then we had our booths there, and we provided some plantings of seeds. We gave out literature, different bookmarks and so forth that the White River Alliance gave us, and it was a good kind of first start of a public outreach for our stormwater partnership, and then the urban forestry helped out with giving some good tree benefits and information, to share that day. But the second one we would like to do, it's going to be a bigger project, and that is planting 200 trees countywide, and that project is in honor of the Madison County Bicentennial. So in 2020, we just celebrated, which because of COVID, we delayed it 1 year, but in 2020, we had the Town of Pendleton Bicentennial. Now in 2023, we have the Madison County Bicentennial. So a part of that project, we thought that if we can plant 200 trees countywide because of the great stormwater benefits that trees provide, we thought that it'd be perfect timing. So what we've done is we hold those meetings quarterly, and We had, I think it was the spring quarterly meeting that ended up getting canceled. We had a workshop and we also had that public outreach meeting. So we didn't have a spring quarterly meeting. But at the June quarterly meeting, they approved for the town of Pendleton to take lead to apply for a grant. And so we applied for the Arbor Day Foundation Tree Proposal Grant, and we're waiting work. What they will do is they will take that proposal and they will see if they can find a partnership, a donor that would be willing and interested in partnering with them. When we did the Recovery Tree Project, we were partnered with international international paper. Yeah, that's to say, we wouldn't say newspaper, but it was right. So thank you. And so they had provided all the trees for that project. The second component of that, which we'll learn a little bit later, was our tree keeper software in our inventory. But on for this project, we're hoping to be able to get a 1 to 5 gallon bucket trees. We want to keep it small. That way, it does not require any heavy equipment, bobcats, or anything that other than just the shovel in hand to be able to plant these trees. And in the 8 to 9 different municipalities, we also have a few other smaller towns like Summitville, Markleville that we may then reach out to get them involved as well. But we're going to see how many of the 200 trees that they would be of interest in. And we're going to have an agreement ready for them that they would be responsible for calling in selecting the locates, the sites, calling in 811 locates. They will also be responsible for picking those trees up here with the mulch, and we're going to try to get 5 gallon bucket each tree. Pick those up, and then they would also coordinate the planting groups, whether it's volunteer groups or it might be their street department, either one. So each municipality will probably get about 10 to 25 trees. There might be some that may only want a handful, 5 or 10 trees. I'm confident down in Pendleton, I already have several different residents are interested in trees, so I believe that we can get a greater interest. Also, Madison County. I'm going to be meeting with Jessica Baston here in the next week, and she expressed that they will probably have the capabilities of getting more trees. But how we're going to handle as far as where they'll be planted, we're going to allow the flexibility of being planted on residential property or on town property. And that way, those like Madison County who does not have any parks within their system, then they can open it up to residents and they can plant it on their own property. But the agreement is that each recipient has to do a locate, not just with 811, but they're going to locate that on a collector's map. And Madison County Council of Governments, Renee Lawson, she said that she might be able to be here later today, but she is going to create that map, and all they have to do is take that link on their phone, stand where they're going to plant that tree, click it on, and there it is on the collector's map. So it's going to be very, it's going to be a very simple, streamlined project. We're going to try to keep it as simple as possible. We will host the distribution of those trees at Falls Park, and we're shooting for mid to late, it'll probably be the 2nd or 3rd week in October. We'll get this grant for having the trees planted. We will likely plant during the week, though. Reason being is that many of the municipalities need to have their street departments available to plant. So we're not going to designate just one day, just when we get closer. We're going to probably designate a week for those trees to give those departments some flexibility and weather permitting as well. So for priority application, the deadlines for fall projects for Arbor Day Foundation was June 30th. So they will work on those early, mid-June, and then we had submitted that on the 26th of June. So hopefully we'll be able to get in and have good chances. I put on the application that if we can get word by early August, that will give enough time to be able to pull all. But in the meantime, this week and next week, my plan is to have contacts for each different municipality confirmed. I'm waiting back for some of those towns, so then that way they could be on board. And what my goal is to have either weekly or bi-weekly meetings with those representatives. So then that way we keep everything going and we can stay on task and be ready to go. for the trip to get done.
Denise, could I ask a real quick question? On the map that you referred to earlier, where they can pick it out, is that map going to reflect areas where they couldn't, where they shouldn't plant at the, like by an intersection or a utility pole or, whatever?
Yeah.
Is that going to reflect that
Yeah,
on the map?
we will put that in the guidelines in the agreement for it. Just areas as far as visual, components and not to be in under a utility line or a public easement. We will put those down there. We're just going to ask that the representatives from the town, and they go out to each of their sites to approve it, that they confirm that it is before they make that final selection. So
Good. Thank you.
we're gonna have to have them being kind of feet on the ground, eyes on that, and getting those audited, those sites audited before they get selected. But yes, yeah, very, very good point. But that map, I don't know if it's that detailed or complex where it has those capabilities. I think it is just going to just be once that site is selected, they just click on that link and
I know in the past, we've always had involvement with arborists that said this site is not good for a weeping willow tree. Is that going to be part of the equation?
yeah, some
Or
of
they can plant
those,
one.
from what I understand is most of the trees are, that they select, that we got, are, they can thrive in, most areas. But yes, there are some trees that, that need the wet soil. There's trees that need more dry clay type soil. But in part of that application, it had asked, and I just kind of put that, trees that can thrive in most Indiana, medium soil locates. And so
Are we gonna look for just native trees?
yeah,
Or
but yeah, I don't think that they would even give us non-native trees. I think
Yeah.
that they would make sure that, and then they usually work, from my understanding, work with a nursery within the state anyway. But yeah, it'll be non-invasive. They'll be native is what we requested. But and I put also small to medium sized. I did not want to get large trees just in case it is a street plant. They weren't going to be like we have some ginkgos down on State Street that are starting to uproot the sidewalks there and causing some issues. That these trees are just not appropriate for short trees.
so we have a plan B if we don't get the grant.
So, so I actually just got last week a grant proposal for legacy projects through Madison County. So I'm going to reach out to them this week, see how much funds are there and see if maybe if they could even fund, say, 5,000, 10,000. I put at most 20,000 for the trees. That is $100 per tree. But for 1 to 5 gallon bucket tree, I'm told that you can sometimes get it for $40, $50. So if we get it for wholesale, I don't think that 20,000 will be a need. I put that is something that we are not, the financial component of it was not the necessity. I put it to where it's the number that counted. So hopefully that gives them a little bit more leeway. I think, do you recall, was it down in Seymour, there was where we got the inventory for the tree recovery? we can ask that, I can ask that later, but I was trying to remember what nursery we got that through.
Seymour.
Oh, yeah, it
South
was.
of
It was in
Seymour.
Jackson County, because we went down at one point. I can't remember who went with me, but we went and picked up. I'm pretty sure it was in Jackson County, but we picked
Trying
up.
to, I was gonna look that up and I didn't get to that, but,
They were broke bags. It wasn't Woody Warehouse.
no. But Woody Warehouse did do our community, urban forestry,
Okay.
project. They did half of our trees there, but
Yeah. I have to look it up. I know.
Oh,
which
I
nursery you're
just
talking about, but I just can't think of it.
It was located right by a lake, real close to the lake. Gosh, I can remember driving down there and everything. It's a smaller town, but it's, no, it's in Jackson County. If this is the right one, it was in Jackson County and it was, past Seymour, but not too far. I just can't remember.
Snyder. Snyder Nursery?
Gosh, I don't know.
Yeah,
No, that's the only comes to mind. Okay, no.
I just
Sorry.
can't remember.
That's okay.
No worries.
we'll look that up.
I do remember that they were a lot bigger than we thought they were gonna be.
Snyder Nursery is a very big nursery.
Yeah.
Space.
I bet, yes.
I had a question. Well, too, so then who is it that actually chooses the species? It's a Arbor Day Foundation.
That is my understanding. That they coordinate with the nursery and they just get a variety of species that they have.
So my other question then is, so you're allowing planting across like a whole week. Is there a day that you're kind of gonna make the main planting day that we can come to and help oversee?
Yeah. We're looking at. We're looking at the 10th through the 13th of October, or the 16th through the 20th. Those are the 2 weeks that we were going to shoot for. It falls kind of within the fall break of 2 different school systems. I think Pendleton's is the 9th to the 13th, and then Anderson's is 16th to the 27th. But I do want to bump it out that late if we didn't have to. The thought is that then if families did want to be involved with the plantings, then we may be able to gain some of that opportunity with it falling on the fall break versus on a Saturday. But what we would like to do is for the distribution pickup, have that where our stormwater will have the booth there, having someone kind of illustrate how to properly plant the tree. And then, then the other part is if we can get this pulled off, is our rain barrel program. We would like to be able to have each community that's participating get a rain barrel. And an artist, ideally from their own community, to be the one painting the rain barrel. And then we'll have those rain barrels at that event. And then that way we have them all together, and then the municipality representative would just take their rain barrel and then they would take it and put it in a public park that they would like, or somewhere, if it's town hall, or wherever they would like to have that rain barrel placed from there. So that event is kind of where we're looking at pulling everyone together. And then that way we kind of have the education component, we have the outreach component, engagement, but then at the same time, that's when they would come and pick up the tree. So we're thinking very early on that week would be, of those 2 weeks is where we're looking at. Would that be something that?
Potentially, I need to look at the calendar and see, but you know, if you settle on a date, we will definitely look at if we can cover it. To try and help with information and distribution. So.
Yeah, that would be great. And then Rachel, if you have a booth or anything like that, or a table that you set up, I mean, you're more than welcome to bring that as well. But
Yeah.
however, okay, yeah, we'll talk about that. Yeah, that would be great. Yeah. Okay. And Aaron, if you want to have a booth too, I
I
mean,
don't necessarily want to have a booth. Is this a matching grant?
it's not.
I'd like to participate. in something.
Okay, okay. Yeah.
I think the manner that best suits me is to help with the tree locates.
Mhm.
Yeah. But yeah, I was hoping it was an in time so that I could. But, yeah, let's talk later.
Okay,
And,
yeah.
I'd like to help with that.
Okay. Got it. I'll get with the two of you guys on that. Yeah. That it. Oh, I do want to mention too, the Anderson Youth Rotary Club is still interested in being involved. They may look at, they said, funding the mulch or the buckets, but we're leaning more towards the buckets on that because the mulch might be able to be provided at that city. But we've got how we're going to get that picked up and delivered because it's just you come in with the truck and so we're not quite for sure if there's bags that we can put it in, but we're looking at about a half of a bag per. So that's another piece that we've got to shake out a little bit here this next month. And then our stormwater partnership, we meet next on August the really early, let's say the 3rd, maybe the 2nd. Okay. That's it for the stormwater. Any questions on that project or? And then if there is any way that you as a board would like to be involved with that, just having you present there for that distribution and help organize, help out man that would be great. But I'll keep you posted as far as even bucket preparations and stickers and all that kind of stuff as we get to that point. Guys involved. The next update is we have the municipal arborist consultation. We've come to where we feel that we need to have more hands-on, have our urban forestry program a little bit more involved. Kind of what we've done in the past, we just really with past leadership, Rachel Christensen was lead of this board for several years prior to me coming in, and prior to that was Kayla Hassett, and then Hannah Rose Urbanski. She is the planning director now. So this board's kind of handed down to different roles here within the town, and about a year, I took over the planning and zoning administrative role and did this piece. So we've actually just had some meetings here lately with some division of responsibilities that's going to help me to be able to spend more time with this board, spend more time in education, educating myself, and getting more and more aware of our urban forestry inventory that we have. And so what we've done is as part of our plant growth management, which is management of trees under power lines and utility easements within the town that just started about 3 years ago. We are getting more to, it's not as aggressive a treatment right now. So the maintenance of that has slowed down quite a bit to allow some funds available to be able to hire a consultant, be on the ground to do a 360 inventory of the trees and keeping our tree inventory more up to date on a tree keeper. So I think we've got our subscription, I think, is coming up here this next month. We want to continue that program. We want that program to be more aware to our community. And with that inventory, we decided, at least for now, that we did an addendum with plant growth management. They're already here, they kind of have a system, so we're going to start with them And we have split the town into 5 sections. So right now, what they're going to do, we just signed the addendum late June, June 27th. And Tanya Dotson is their certified arborist. We're going to start working with her. And she has decided to start with the section would be basically our jurisdiction of east of Pendleton Avenue and north of State Street. So that corridor, that north east corridor will be her first section. She's had 2 dates in the field here in July, the 12th and the 18th, just to kind of get more familiar with the trees. She is already finding some trees. A lot of the trees within that section are the Falls Park, which is the department of the town. And we've got the sports complex, we've got the pool there, the park, and then any street trees within the
38 more acres, by the way.
Yes, that's true. That
Yes.
is right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Not that there's that many trees in that
On the
area.
outlining
right?
there,
Yeah.
there is,
Yeah.
yes.
What
Yeah.
about the cemetery area?
The cemetery would be on the west side of Pendleton.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, so real close, but yes, so that will be, I'm not sure that might be year 2. And then probably where the golf course, which would be the southeast corridor, would be year 3. Year 4 would then be the southwest quarter of State and Pendleton Avenue. And then year 5 is going to be just the outline, which it's not a lot in clustered areas, but it's kind of spread out. So we're going to leave that for year 5. And so we'll rotate that each year. Like was saying that she's finding in the park that there's trees that have been planted that aren't in our inventory. So I think just with the new staff and everything, that's where my goal is to be able to keep up with tree removals, tree trimmings, tree maintenance needs, as well as new plantings and keeping up on that. So then that way, when we look at it, then we can really know that our analysis and our inventory is as close as possible.
They just planted some in the playground.
Yes, yeah, I just found that out with Donnie.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
Probably not on the list.
I don't know, there might be 10 maybe or 15, he said, that were planted.
Yeah.
So he's like, I don't know the species, and I said, well, you just give me the contact of your contractor that came in and planted them, we'll figure it out and we'll get them. So, yeah. Yeah, which I was happy to see that they were planting trees. They had to remove several trees at the playground, just because the conflict of where they were located and so forth. And, so it was nice to see that they added some more trees back. So, let's see here. And then what will happen is that once she has that inventory complete, or at least in sections, she's printing it on a spreadsheet, and then that will include diameter, it'll be condition of the tree, tree species, update if it's not in there, and then also any maintenance needs. And then we'll go from there. We'll probably start very slow. It'll be our street department that will be doing most of that maintenance, air and electric department if it's taller trees and trees that really need to be trimmed. So we'll kind of, it'll be a small budget, but at least I feel like that our budget will be reflective of what we're doing. But that's kind of what our goal is. The first year round, we'll have it completed. Our goal is to have it done by October. And then that way I can have it inputted into the system and then everything's updated by the year.
Who'd you say was going to do that?
Tanya Dotson is the arborist through plant growth management.
So is she continuing from a map that you already have?
That's correct. Yes, kind of both.
Okay, so when they do the tree planting initiative, will that go into the same map?
Yes, we'll put that in the tree keeper.
Yeah.
I will probably do those just because I'm going to have access to the collector's map and the species. And so I'll likely be doing that project. I did like the Franklin Street project, so that way those are in there. It just kind of saves time with the hours there. And then she's going to be doing, she can follow. The thing that's so cool about Tree Keeper is when you're on there and you're walking around, you know where you're at with those trees. And so then that way, when she stumbles across the tree, then it's like, oh, okay, that's not in here, you know, or it was there, but it looks like it's gone. Then she's updating it on a spreadsheet, and she can do it on the spot there. We talked about it, but she has, it's a little cumbersome on the phone. And then with her laptop, trying to carry that around and keeping Wi-Fi. And then two, I want to be more familiar with the inventory. So she's just making notes and putting it in our spreadsheet and giving a locate number. Tree keeper has the locate number, and then I can pull it up. That's kind of how we're going to try it.
So somebody, when they get a tree at the tree planting initiative, they're gonna map it, and then you're gonna go through and make sure that it's correct.
Yeah, we're gonna have to, kind of what I envision on that is that they will just put in they will put in just the locate of the tree. So that way we'll see, you know, where a new tree was planted. And then at the distribution site, when we have affiliated with, say, tree number 1 and the locate or the address of the recipient, then I'll put the species there and then I'll bring it back. So, I don't know, I'm not real familiar with how much information those collectors maps can hold. I don't know if we could add that into it, but that's something I need to get more familiar with Renee Lawson. I don't know if it has that capability, but at least we'll be able to provide with Arbor Day Foundation or, you know, just after the grant, we'll be able to show, okay, here's for all those 200 trees, Madison County wide. Yeah.
Question.
Oh,
Or
yes,
comment.
yes.
Suggestion.
Yeah.
So in with your recovery tree,
Mhm.
you have the trees are planted in there. Suggestion when you work with Renee, try to have her duplicate the data fields that you guys want. But duplicate the ones that you guys want for simplification. That way, save you time. You don't have to enter them in. It's a little hard to work. It will be a service fee,
Okay.
but an hourly type of thing. But they can just take it off and as long as it matches.
So she can create additional data fields within each
Collector
on that
is
collector map.
iterative. It's just a matter of does she and what is her goal with that program and how does she.
That probably would save a lot of time. We could, yeah.
Especially if you're gonna put like. Trees on the tree keeper side. Back and forth.
Yeah, okay, yeah. I will get with Renee on that. If she's not able to come today, then yeah, I would definitely, ask her how.
I'm happy to help with that.
Okay. Thank you. Just saying, the last one, we learned a lot more too, yeah. Great, so. Okay. So yeah, so at the end of the year for our arborist consultation, goal is to have year 1 done, updated, have resource or baby resource tree keeper program updated, as well as having a 5-year projection as far as budget. We currently have, as part of the 2016 tree management plan, we have 2017 through 2024. We do not have a set budget for 2022 free, but we want to have some working budget again. As far as Facebook, we started out, just kind of give you a background, Rachel and Jacob, we started a Facebook page. Carol Hanna came with a great idea, and so we started that in September 1st, 2022. When I did that, I started it just the way I knew to create a Facebook page. We tried to just do it on the site outside of our social media manager just to keep the costs down. So between myself and we had a planning department intern and Reese Wimmer, and so we would add in about 2 to 4 posts a month. And so we just really wanted to be able to create the awareness of urban forestry, provide some education to our community as far as just tree care tips and just information as far as opportunities to be involved. And so it's kind of been a gradual, program. But what we found is that the site framework of that site was more where you would have to request a friend request and then you'd be accepted and then to follow. It wasn't like a nonprofit or governmental type page to where they just like it. And so we decided that in January 2023 to try our best to eliminate. It seemed to be very well liked and received by the community members. Then they'd see it, they'd follow it, and they had interaction. But then we just felt like that wasn't the best way. And we wanted it to where anyone could just follow and so forth. So then we started a new page and we invited them to come to the new page. But then that kind of, we thought we'd phase the other one out and then we'd continue to get Facebook requests and so forth. And so what we've done here in the last month is we unfriended those followers. Of course, we had already invited them to follow the new page and put that post and link to the new page and all that. But we just decided after that final post, we're not posting anymore and just simply working off of the existing page. So right now we have about 97 followers. We're gaining about 10 to 15 per month. So we felt, pretty good with that. I think with our goal is we want a little bit more interaction, and I think that will just be me having more time to be creative with what posts we put on there. The last 6 months, we've just been doing like spring tree care tips and so forth, and but I think that there's a lot of other opportunities that we can build up that engagement. But I think it's been, it's a good added asset, I think, to our board. And I think that, when we start doing maybe some more workshops or opportunities for people to be involved with projects, we'll be able to use that page as a platform to communicate that. Is there anything you all would like to add or share with the Facebook page?
I just think that the more we do it, the more we're going to learn how to do it a better way. And it's just going to evolve to a much smoother, I don't know if smoother is the right word, but much more open, easier. And I think you can tell that already. So.
Yeah. Carol came up with a QR code for it. We've got it in the lobby here, but that's something too that want to get that promoted and get that out.
Maybe when at the tree pickup, maybe we could have a little poster or something.
Yeah.
That's it.
I think sometimes people just fall into it accidentally. They don't, and the more we can make that public, just like Carol's suggestion, the better off it's going to be. Then I think we'll have people, looking at it automatically. They'll think, yeah, and ask for everybody to share. If they're interested, share. I think it's going real well considering. But I know it takes a lot of time, for especially you.
Yeah, but I think things are good. I think we're getting, things kind of added a position, so that's going to be able to give me a lot more time to be able to get the program where it needs to be. So yeah, no, I'm really excited. I think for our community. Well, that is all I have for updates. What I thought, we could do here, maybe the next 30 minutes, and we can break and then we go to lunch, is just kind of talk and share with you all kind of the history of the urban forestry program here. And then, of course, then we'd love to reserve, a lot of time with, hearing and learning from you all. And as far as under your leadership, Jacob, what is going on with the Division of Forestry with the state, and how we can be involved with that in the future. But I think, was it Joe, I think, first? Yeah. So,
Okay, I have the developments of our committee. In 1993 was the original Pendleton Urban Forestry Committee ordinance was passed. They created the board, the general duties, established tree species approval list, and tree care management guidelines. And then the next tick on the timeline is 2016, which is 23 years later, is when we were involved with David Resource Group with the summary of the tree inventory, tree benefits analysis, and set up a 5-year budget to cover 17 through 21. Then in 2018, we amended the ordinance. We updated the board terms and duties, removed tree species approval list, an update to the tree care management and guidelines. Then also in 2018, we approved tree species list and expanded that list, update and expansion. And we also in 2018, Taylor Metz, who was the former president of our board, he came up with a tree care manual. It covered proper care and maintenance, planting guidelines, planting, trimming, removal, species section, and we also had goals and objectives. And in 2022, we amended the ordinance to the number of board membership from 7 to 5 members to help us be able to function better as a board and be more on a regular basis.
I'm just looking at online. If you go to the town of Pendleton, you can see we've got the tree inventory, management plan, the tree care manual, the approved street tree list, the updated list. So everything's available. I think sometimes, and that may be something we want to. I don't think people realize what
Promote that on Facebook.
Yeah, what all is available for people to look at. So that's just available. So we have some acknowledgements. We have, for the last 13 years, been awarded the Tree City USA Award by the Arbor Day Foundation. And in 2022, we were awarded the Gold Award by the International Society of Arboriculture Arborist Association Conference. And that was for our Pendleton Tree Recovery Project. And we had several people that were present to accept the award. Denise was one of them. So that was quite an honor. In 2020, we received the Bicentennial Legacy Project Award, again for the Tree Recovery Project. And we'll be talking a lot more about that. Some of the other folks join us for lunch that will involved with that. And also 2020 is when we started with the Tree Keeper software through the Resource Group, and that's been a great asset to a useful tool for us. Also 2020, we, the electric department, put the plant management program to help them identify trees that needed to be managed in order to, that was probably one of the biggest needs at the time, was to keep the trees around utility lines healthy and safe, reduce outages. This year, having certified arborist consultant tree inventory assessment. So we've talked about already, but
I have a list of some of the Pendleton Urban Forestry Committee projects that we've taken on. So the Memorial Tree Program has been going on for 30 years in Falls Park. And if you ever have a chance to walk through around Falls Park, you'll see the different trees that have been, I guess, donated or as the part of the Memorial Project. And trees are planted in the park, the proper park, and then also in the sports complex, which is, I guess, north of the main part of the park. And then our plans are to expand it to the cemetery and to the golf course, which, as she mentioned earlier, so the golf course is up that, or is down that way, and then the cemetery is in the opposite direction. In May, or Memorial Weekend of 2019, there was a tornado that came through Pendleton, and we lost at least 300 plus trees. It was pretty amazing to see. And so what we did is we did an inventory of the damaged trees, or we didn't do it, but
Madison County Council of Governments.
thank you, Madison County Council of Governments did it. And there were 200 plus volunteers that helped with the cleanup in the days that followed. That was also an amazing undertaking. It was very organized and just everybody came out and helped out. In 2019, we also did community days at the park. There were 12 park projects, about 100 volunteers, 15 vendors, 20 memorial trees were planted during that event. And then there was also a memorial tree from the tornado that was planted near the gazebo, which is right over there. And a demonstration on tree planting by Taylor Metz, who's the guy that also put together the tree care manual. And then in 2020, we did Pendleton Recovery Tree Project based from the tornado trees that were taken down. And so we had about 150 volunteers that came out on a very nice crisp afternoon, and we planted 200 residential and 100 park trees. So we just all scattered around with our little buckets of trees and our little things. And it was really a fun day. And we'll talk more about that at our luncheon.
Mine, I'm going to talk about the Pendleton Urban Forestry Committee projects, which there's been really some great ones, I think. 2020 to 2021, the Indiana DNR Community and Urban Forestry Grant. We got 60 public trees planted, street trees and parkland. And then the wonderful tree inventory through Davy Resource Group. I think that's one of the best things that's happened to our committee. I really do. It makes such a huge difference. 2021, the Indiana DNR Tree Steward Program site host. And where did we, I don't remember where we did that. I mean,
Say that again.
the Tree Steward Program site host. What?
We, so it was a 2-month program, education program, when we was in the spring. And so we did it that year, it was online because of COVID.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
okay.
and then
Okay.
we hosted the actual in-person tree planting, and we planted a tree, kind of learned how to probably plant a tree. And then we also kind of walked around the park, and then they kind of taught how to properly prune a tree and what to kind of look for, concerns and conditions and so forth. And
I think that was when we kind of had some of the town employees that are involved in the tree. They came also, I believe, and that was fun watching and watching them and listening to them and how much they actually admitted that they didn't know they should have done that. So it was very,
Yeah.
it was very,
For them to-
yes, absolutely. It was very helpful. Let's see, 2022, the Franklin Street Project, which Denise did a huge hand in that. Franklin Street is that way. And they took a real hit during the tornado. That was one of the main areas. You could just kind of walk through Pendleton and see where it touched down and then went back up and touched down, went back up. they had a lot of trees. It was just entering into town, I think, at that point, because it's on the west side of town. And there were a lot of trees on Franklin Street that had major damage at the top. Not the total tree, but at the top of the tree. And most of those, of course, had to be, removed. So that was a big project. 23 trees. They were all street trees. They weren't, private trees, but they were 23 street trees that went all the way on Franklin Street, all the way from State Street, clear up to,
5 or 6
yeah,
blocks.
5 or 6 blocks. So that was a great project. And almost all the residents that lived in that area were very supportive. And I think they had the opportunity to request about three different kinds of trees at the time, and they appreciated that. I think there were a few that didn't want another one planted, even though it was in the town. Most of it was in the town right away. We decided to go easy on. We didn't want, like be the Gestapo or anything, but it went really, really well. And Denise played a huge part of that.
Well, and you all did too. I mean, they got to be a part of choosing the selections of the trees, the species, and we got their input. And I thought that was a really important aspect to get their ideal species, top 3 choices. And it wasn't crazy how no one didn't get their number 1. It was just wild how, you thought, oh, there'll be a couple of them, all of them.
Yeah.
And it didn't work that way.
No, everybody, it was
got
all
their
different
top
kinds,
control.
and
Yeah, we want some flowering and
Yeah,
some
yeah.
non-flowering and some,
Yeah.
we wanted a variety, and so, yeah, we kind of gave them the whole list of the choices and it all worked out.
And each one of those trees is healthy. right?
Yeah.
They've all come.
Yeah.
through the
Right.
I
winter
know, I
and
was
Yeah.
with the first drought earlier this year, I was so grateful.
Oh, and I got good news. The first 2 islands on the north end of Franklin Street there on the west side. The first island area is filled with gas line. When they did the reconstruction, they had to put a couple of utilities in. The second section still does not have any trees either, is the water main. And so we could not plant trees within those
Right.
2 areas. But I have them on the list for the whole project to where we're going to give them a tree on their lawn. So
That's
that
nice.
way, because there are some of them that have lost trees and, since we can't put it, in the islands, between the street and the sidewalk, we'll give it to them on the front lawn.
And all that interaction with the residents, I felt like it was a good thing to do, because sometimes, residents think, oh, the town says we gotta do this, we gotta do that, and complain. But anyway, I think it worked out really well. I think the residents were kind of surprised and pleased that, we talked with them and, tried to do, and it sounds like everybody got the tree they wanted. So I think that
And
was,
they also got a brand new street surface.
Yeah.
Brand new sidewalks
Yeah.
and curbs.
Yeah.
So their whole street.
yes. And it was done a little later, I think a couple of years after the actual tornado, passed through. But as Joe said, they all, besides getting all new trees, they got great new sidewalks, new curbing, looks nice down there. The street looks really nice now compared to what it did look like, after the tornado. 2021 and 2022 tree planted at our elementary school here in town in honor of Arbor Day with kind of an educational component to it. And there was I think, were they the 4th graders that came out?
Yeah.
The 4th graders got to leave their, their classroom and help, and we passed out some things, and it was another, the school cooperated with us. It was another nice part. 2022 and 2023, the Urban Forestry Facebook page, which Denise has kind of, discussed all that. But to me, that's another component that really helps with the community being involved and knowing more about the project. In 2023, the Arbor Day Fair at Citizens Park, which was in Anderson, and that covered stormwater benefits, seed planting, education, and public outreach, which just happened, right? Just last
Yes.
June, last month.
That was last month.
Yeah. So, yeah, that was one of kind of where we went outside of our area and made connections. I wasn't there, but it sounded like one. And that's it.
Start where we come. Yeah.
So as Denise said earlier, my name is Jacob Rose. I'm the Community and Urban Forestry Director in the Unit Department of Natural Resources. Been in this position since December. Before I took over this position, our entire department was pretty much empty for all of 2022. So getting these programs that we have back up and running and just getting a functional department again has been a huge work in progress, and pretty much all I've been working on since I started, since Rachel started in May. So a big thing that we do in our department is the grant program. There was nothing administered in 2022. We're in the process of getting the program back up and running for 2023. I wish we had something to announce now, but where it's at in the process now is it's just in our grants and financial department to approve it, and then has to go to the Forest Service to approve it, since it's their funds that we're passing out. So there's going to be numerous opportunities for grant applications over hopefully the next 6 months. But as of now, we don't have anything to announce. It's concrete, or there will be funds available in the next 6 months, hopefully. I mean, most of the announcements really have is to Rachel's department, so she can kind of talk about that.
So you guys did a tree steward program that was online, hybrid. So I'm working on getting more programs, and we're not doing more online. It's gonna be in person. And so if your tree crew is interested in learning more, so you get a good feedback from them, and or just the public, we can work on getting a tree steward event probably for next year. With you guys, co-hosting, that would be really awesome. I love how much you kind of branched out to other towns. I think that's really helpful. Because you're a tree city, it seems like with the tornado, you learned a lot. It's like there was a lot of issues, but it seems like you've learned a lot. So you guys are doing well. And then you have towns around you that maybe could benefit from the knowledge that you guys have figured out. And so because you're a tree city, maybe we can have some meetings as well, talking about the benefits of being a tree city, and trying to get other towns kind of initiated, trying to increase the number of trees they have, trying to increase it. So that's another thing. It's just kind of doing outreach with other towns. And then also, we've done some work with schools. Tree City has a Tree City campus K through 12. It's a curriculum, and so I think you guys can maybe benefit from that as well. I don't know a whole lot about it other than the teachers would have to make their own, but there is a curriculum. It's kind of like Tree City, like you can get certified.
Yeah. I mean, I'm assuming for the curriculum portion, I mean, it's not like they have to have a whole class about it. All they have to do is pretty much teach about the benefit of trees or no. No, they just have to teach about it. So they just have to teach about benefit of trees, or just tree biology, tree physiology as a portion of their curriculum. They have to have a minimum of 3-person board where it's an educator, a student, and somebody from the community. They have to have an Arbor Day observation, which they can be incorporated with the cities. They don't have to have a separate observation. And they have to have like a hands-on hands-on learning experience. So I'm assuming probably at least 2 of those requirements might be already filled with their curriculum. And maybe the Arbor Day observation, getting schools involved in the Arbor Day observation of that. I don't know if that's already part of.
So what, like if it was for the high school, what subject would that fall under?
Probably biology, I would guess, is
Yeah.
more about like tree biology.
Yeah.
Like the only other school in Indiana that is recognized as a tree campus K-12 is West Lafayette, and I think the teacher who did that had an advanced, I think maybe biology class where it's just a big focus of that class was on trees, which you don't have to go that in depth. It could just be, just the lesson on it. Doesn't.
So it's, but you said it goes from kindergarten through grade.
Yeah, it
12.
can be a elementary, middle school, high school.
I think that would be a great
Yeah.
project to consider for next year. I really do.
It'd be great to tie it in with our 4th grade
That's what I was
tree
thinking with
planting
our
for
fifth
4th
grade.
graders.
Yeah.
I think all three.
I think that would be great.
But even,
Oh, yeah.
even in the upper grades, I mean, that's just like, Mr. Johnson, he teaches like an environmental class, I believe. And I know that he might be a good fit too. I know he's really, my
Yeah,
kids,
Yeah.
well, my daughter, that is a favorite. And I think my son's favorite currently teacher, but I can reach out. Anyway, I can always reach out
That'd
to
be
him.
great.
Yeah. Too. I think it's Johnson.
Mr.
Yeah.
Johnson.
Anyway, I'll make sure I got the right
And if
guy,
it's,
but yeah.
environmental science.
Yeah.
Urban forestry is kind of multi-disciplinary. So if tree biology is kind of like not their forte, but understanding how trees impact the landscape, how they take in water, that could be their focus or benefits. There's multiple avenues that you can use, but we're spearheading that. We want the kids to learn about trees.
Oh, I think that
That
sounds
even might interest, I mean, someone's interest might be sparked even to use that as a career.
Right.
If they were exposed to it. I like that.
me too.
Cool. So, if you want more information about becoming certified, I think they can contact. We have an education forestry that know about that too. So I can get you guys in contact. You can figure out when and if we want to do a tree steward program next year.
And I was assuming that elementary will still want to be involved in
Junior high, I think
Yeah,
that
the
would
new
be.
principal is, yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, I just heard it.
I feel like she is.
Melissa Hagerman.
Yeah, she's.
I'm also curious, is Taylor Metz going to be at the lunch?
He said that he did accept and said he would be here, so.
All right, yeah, I'm curious about his background, because you said he created a whole tree owners.
He's a professor.
That's
He's a
impressive.
professor at Ball State University.
Wait,
in
what?
Landscape architecture.
Oh my gosh, I literally just graduated from there.
Oh.
I didn't do landscape architecture.
Yeah.
Okay.
He would
lives in
be-
town,
yeah.
He's the guy.
All
Yeah.
right.
And I heard
I'll
otherwise,
have
I'm
to-
hoping that they will be there.
Yeah, I'll contact
If not, we could put you in contact if
Yeah.
something comes.
The last thing then is just, I think it's really cool that he was able to create those materials. And there are, materials through the Year of Tree City Arbor Day Foundation. They have a lot of educational materials on the website that I would recommend using. So you don't have to like start from scratch everywhere. But that's impressive that he did that.
He's pretty impressive when you talk to
Yeah.
him. He really is.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, we're sorry, we lost him on the board, but
Yeah.
he's just too busy.
Oh, yeah.
And part of our goals too is the Tree City Growth Award. I'd like to learn more about that and see what it would take to get that.
I wonder if we could get your guys' contact info. I don't think I mean, I'm sure we have it somewhere, but I,
say, I
don't have it.
will,
Yeah, that'd be
I
great.
will send it all out to you.
So I'm curious as to what you're kind of wanting from our department. Are you going to be seeking grant opportunities or what exactly do you have in mind?
Definitely, I would say,
Grants,
yeah.
And education.
Yeah. Your involvement in a lot of ways is so important. I mean, frankly, over the years, I don't know how we would have accomplished what we did accomplish without you. So, and there were times we probably should have reached out a little more. Now I'm looking back 30 years ago, but you know, we've learned a lot over the years, a lot.
Yeah, the seminars, I mean, I know I wasn't able to watch part of it on Zoom. It's just the education for our benefit as well.
Absolutely.
So, do you guys have a volunteer base for taking care of the trees, or is it roles in the community?
Yeah, oh, yes, Jerry.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I didn't get that.
No, you're good. I was just wondering if you had a volunteer for taking care of the trees, or.
Sometimes.
Our projects, that's probably where we mainly pulled in a lot of volunteer groups, whether individuals, families, businesses, come in, some nonprofit organizations come in, kind of create a team. But as far as more on a day-to-day, it's mainly either through Williams Tree Service, who has kind of been bankrupt management, but our street department, they kind of taken that duty on.
Well, and so many of our trees are in the park. We've got a Friends of Falls Park that is a good base for volunteers. Joyce might be able to talk a little bit about that.
I'm on
too.
board with that. And in the tree recovery program, Friends of Falls Park was asked to do the distribution and pickup area. And Sue Patton was phenomenal. She's with the South Madison Foundation, and she kind of spearheaded it all. She ended up being the feet on the ground for all that and coordinating all of this. But I mean, it was a big project. And we're not a real big group. We just formed Friends of Falls Park in 2018. And we did our first project in 2019, and then boom, we have a tornado, and then we have the recovery thing. But it pulled a lot of people together. We unloaded the semis that the trucks came on with other people's help. Some of the park people helped too. We categorized the trees for a pickup area, certain types in certain areas. We had the buckets, we had it all ready to boom, 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 boom. People, you pull in, you don't get out of your truck, you pull in, you give your name, your list, you go around, pick up the different stations, you pull out, and we had a group of people going all morning.
It was a great project.
Yeah.
I'll, before we go, here are some pictures of that day. I'll just kind of go through it here. But yeah,
I
that
forget how
was that
many
district.
teams we had. Sue's gonna know.
That's
Sue will
at
know,
the
yeah.
park office. That's where they had it split up all in trees, and mulch and buckets. Yeah, it was a great project.
So it sounds like if we're gonna do a tree series event, like, who are we targeting? We try and pull in some people.
Yeah.
Falls Park
Mhm.
and as well as the street crew and.
And we have a lot of interested residents around here that want to be involved in projects.
Okay.
Especially the park seems to draw people's interest, and the trees did.
All right, yeah, so. I think we definitely. told them. just one of them.
That was the morning.
It was like the trees were screaming out, thank you, thank you.
Yeah. It was a awesome day.
Very exciting. We have some exciting opportunities.
We'll definitely be in touch
Yeah.
with all that, yes. we will.
Do you think you'd be interested in doing more tree planting grants, or you said education? So do you think that would just be for tree steward programs, or?
I think it would be kind of a, yeah,
Yeah.
equal.
Yeah. I'd say probably with a tree planting grant, probably 24, 25. We definitely want to host program. Have that.
I think one's gonna strengthen the other, so
Yeah.
I think both,
Okay.
we'd appreciate anything.
Okay.
I'm also curious about what your species was.
Me too, because
It's on our website.
I can remember back in the early days where the list seemed to change all the time. So we went by the list one year on the proper street trees, and ginkgo was one of them, you know, just the male ginkgo.
Yeah.
And now it's not so. Every once in a while, a female would sneak in there, and that didn't go over well at all. But the list changes over as you learn more and more about trees and everything. The list of the preferred trees
I don't know when the
changes.
last time that's been looked at. Yeah, it was 2018 when they did the inventory approval list.
Yeah.
We would like to expand. Just because we found in the recent plantings with community urban forestry grant, tree project, there's a lot of trees that are, really ideal trees that aren't on our list. Another thing is we have maple trees, but yet we've already kind of hit that 30% maple.
Yes.
So, I don't know if we'll remove it altogether or what. We do work with our developers, so I review all the tree selections on their site development plans and so forth. And we don't allow, the maple, but we do give some flexible, some flexibility with trees that are not on our list. Our list is very short.
Yeah.
I feel. So I have like a little spreadsheet of what we've worked in with recent projects. And as long as it's Indiana native, do well within that.
And it sounds like you're aware of the 30, 20, 10.
As far as the inventory analysis, yeah.
It's a tough one, but it's good.
And that maple, I'd say probably we've had to deny 3 plans because they want to go with that. And I'm sure they're real happy about that. Yeah. We did allow replacement. We had citizens that had to take down some maple and they wanted to put maple because that's what they had. We allowed them that since they already had it. But,
Right.
Yeah.
Good for you. Moving on. Couple points and one level from you guys too. Madison County Council of Governments is really, really interested in, and you guys, I'm sure, are aware of it now because you're doing the stormwater program and the storm. I'm not sure where they fit in. I know that
Yeah, they are part of that partnership.
But they applied for, and I talked to you guys about this last time, they applied for the Inflation Reduction Act on the federal grant side for the city and two communities. Pendleton was one of them because they identified that it was just the prison area that falls in there. But anyway, you're talking about how they're pretty much, you guys are the leadership here in Madison County for forestry. You guys, there's not very many programs in Indiana that have everything you guys have. I'd say you guys are probably within the top 5 communities, honestly. You're well up there. So that's a great suggestion as far as their leadership and trying to reach out to other communities. I think you guys can partner with council governments even further. You guys can reach that, and even one with your CUF grants, and you guys can make it more competitive and
maybe reaching out, that they're limited on their funds, I don't know how much they are, but they're limited there. And reaching out to other communities. And that would be one way. But the Council of Governments, they have it in there as urban forestry, specifically with stormwater management is an issue that they have and they are interested in. So I just give you guys further support and saying that you be proud of where you guys are.
Yes.
And you guys do have the feet to stand on as far as your experience. And so when you are in front of these communities, just have that confidence. You guys know what you guys are talking about. You guys know how to run the forestry program from the forest standpoint and a city standpoint. So just keep on what you're doing.
Thank you, Erin. That's one for people like you and others, you know, former staffing with DNR and Rachel Christensen. She was a big, huge key player in all the development of this program. So, and all the scouts up here.
Council of Governments. They are interested in partnering.
Council of Government.
You know, probably Renee Lawson would be my thought on that, maybe.
From your standpoint, I have John. There's Annabelle, there's Ralph, and there's
For tree steward or for grants or what?
just urban forestry programming. They're specifically looking for canopy. Good for that.
That, yeah, if you want to officially adjourn and then I gotta go upstairs real quick to the clerk's office, but can you officially adjourn?
Oh, yes.
Okay, then I'll adjourn. All right.
Okay.